If you're looking to build a fully functional e-commerce website using React, then this tutorial is for you. In this video, you would learn to build a complete food ordering website using React, and we're going to be styling with CSS. We'll start by building the navigation bar, which is going to be fixed. In the navigation bar, we're going to have links here. We're going to have the name of the diner at the center, and we're going to have a cart icon showing the number of items that the user has ordered. Then we'll proceed to building this very simple yet appealing hero section, which is going to show the name of the diner, and also we're going to have a plate of a dish right here. Next is the products list. So we're going to be listing out all the awesome dishes that we have in stock. So this is all we have right now. So in this list, we're going to have a card, and in each card we have an image, we have the name of the food item, we have the price, and we have a call to action button here showing add to cart. So these are all the images that we have right here. Next is the footer. Now, for it to be fully functional, it means that the user is able to make an order, they are able to place order. So I'm going to add few items to the cart. You're going to get a notification. I'm adding this to the cart, adding this third one, adding this fourth one to the cart. And right here, you're going to get a notification that the product has been added to cart. Now, if we click on the cart icon on the navigation bar, it's going to lead us to the cart page, displaying all the items that we have in the cart. On the cart page, we have the headers, shopping cart. We have the number of items that we have in the cart, 4 items, and we have an icon to delete the entire products that we've added to the cart. And also we have surveyed as product description, quantity of items, price, and then the total price. For each of the items that we've added to the cart, we can see each of them. We have an image, we have the name of the item, we have an icon to remove this specific item, we have the quantity control to increase and decrease the quantity of items that we have in the cart, we have the price, and we have the total. Now I'm going to increase the quantity of this special fried rice with chicken. I'll increase this to 2. We can see right here that it has reflected that we have 5 items and the price remains 100, but the total here is $200. Reason being that the initial price is $100 and we have a quantity of 2, so the total is going to be $200. If I increase this quantity once more, you can see right here that showing that we have 6 items in the cart, $100 per item for this specific item, and the total here is $300 because we have 3 items of these added to cart. So if we increase the quantity of item that we have here as well to 2, right here this is $200, and you can see that the total here is 400 because the price is 200, the quantity is 2, and the price is 400. Okay, so I'm going to remove an item now. If I click on this icon, you're going to get a notification, product removed from cart, and you can see that that product has been removed. Now, on the right side, we have the cart summary. For the cart summary, we have the number of items, which is 4. We have 2 items here, an item here, which equals 4. We have the subtotal here to be 730. Shipping free in this case, shipping fee is free in this case. So we have promo code, and then we have the total cost. And we also have a button for the user to check out. So this is all we have in the cart. Now, if I click on this icon, it's going to delete the entire items that we have in the cart. So I'll do that now. And you can see right here that we're getting cart empty. And also a text here, your cart is empty. Now, if we go back to the home page and we add items to cart, you can see that these items have been added to cart, and we're getting a notification showing here that product is added to cart. Also, another thing you're going to learn in this video is user details page. You would learn to view the page of item by clicking on the image. So if you click on this image right here, you can see we're on this page and the URL is showing the ID of the item. So we have localhost port 5173/product/11. So this item is the 11th item. We have the image, we have the name of the item, we have the price, and we have description right here. If I hit this button, this product will be added to cart. Now, if we view the cart page, you're going to see it. This is the last product that I just added, mojito cocktail with lemon ice cube. Okay, we can decrease and increase quantity. We can delete the entire cart system. We can remove a specific item from cart and we'll get a notification. So we're going to be building all of this now using React.js. So let's get started. So now you're going to open your code editor. I'll be using VS Code, and then you click on file, click on open folder, and then locate the folder where you want to create this project. So I'm going to be creating mine in a folder for YouTube project, and then click on new folder and name the folder. So I'll give this food ordering, let's give it food order React, press enter, and then select the folder to open it in VS Code. If you have done that, then you navigate to terminal click on new terminal. I'm going to be using the bash terminal, so I'm just going to click on git bash. Now you're going to type npm create vit at latest space full stop. Then we'll press enter. So you're going to start by opening your code editor. I'll be using VS Code, and we're going to navigate to terminal. Click on new terminal. I'm going to be using bash terminal. So, and right here, you're going to change directory to desktop. We're changing directory because we want to create our project folder and store it in our desktop, right? So for me, I'm going to change directory to another folder where I create my YouTube project. So if you have a folder where you create projects, you should just change directory to that folder so that you can easily locate it when you want to go back to the project and touch up one or two. Okay, so now that I've already changed my directory, I'm going to create my React app using this npm create vit at latest, the name of the project, food ordering. I'm just going to give you food order React hyphen template React. Then I'll press enter. Ensure you're connected to the internet when you're doing this. And once you've done that, you should see this now. Let me expand a bit. Okay, you should see done. Now run change directory to the project folder, install React dependencies, and then open your terminal. Okay, so I'm going to change directory to food order React. Then I'm going to do npm install, which is the next to install React dependencies. So now that we've installed, we're going to open the project folder in a new window. So I'm going to type in code full stop, then I'll press enter. This is going to open the food order React project folder in a new window, and you're going to see that right now. So you can see right here that the project folder has been opened. So next thing is to start with cleanups. So I'm going to reduce this a bit. So now let's start the terminal. I'm going to click on new terminal. And then I'll be using git bash like I said earlier. And we're going to start the server. npm run dev. Press enter. Okay, as you can see that we have everything here. Node modules, public folder, source, git ignore, ESLint, index.html, package.json, package.json, readme.md, and vit.config.js. Okay, so let us open this now and let's see if we have the default React app working perfectly well. Okay, you can see right here that this is working. The counter button as well is working. Okay, so I'm going to collapse this a bit. Then we'll start with the cleanup. First, we'll delete app.css because we're not going to use it for this project. Then app.jsx, I'm going to do Control A, and then I'm going to delete everything. Okay, and then I'm going to type in a keyword. But before typing in that word, you need to have this extension. You need to have ex7 react redux / react native snippet extension installed. Once you have this extension, then you're good to go. If you do not have it, just type ES7 right here in the search box, and then you install this particular extension. Okay, once you have that, you can type in this refc. So this is going to create React snippet for you. As you can see, we've done that now. Next is to delete every single thing we have in index.css. So I'm going to delete this. Then for the entire document, I'm going to set margin to 0, padding to 0 as well. Then in our index.html, we're going to change the title of the project. This is JSON Diner. And you're going to see it right here, JSON Diner. All right, here, the only thing you're going to see here is app, which is correct. All right, so I'm going to close this. And now we'll start creating our project folder. But before creating project folder, let's take a look at this. This is what we're building, right? We have an icon here. That means that we need to install React icons. Also, we can view pages. We can view the cart page. We can also view the product details page. That means we need to install React router DOM so that we'll be able to set up a router to navigate between pages. So let's install React icons and also React router DOM. So right here, if you're on this page, npmjs.com/package/react-icons, then you're on the right page. So just copy the installation code and then you're going to paste it in the terminal. So we'll paste it in the terminal and it's going to install this. Then for React Router DOM as well, if you're on npmjs.com/package/react-router-DOM, then you're on the right page as well. Just copy the installation code and then you paste it on the terminal as well. I'm going to open a new terminal so that I can paste this and it can install at once. The first terminal is open already, and this is where we started our server. The second terminal is where we're installing React icon, and the third one is where I want to paste the installation code for React Router DOM. So we have this now. Oh, I pasted it twice. React Router DOM. Press enter. So while this is installing, okay, so the first one has installed React icon. Second one is still installing. While it is installing, we're going to create a project folder. So first we'll create components folder, and then we're going to create pages folder. So in the component folder, we're going to have our navigation bar, our hero section, footer, and all of that. We're going to have all of that soon. But first off, we need to have all the images of the food items that we want to display here. Okay, so let me close this, close this. I already have them, and I'm going to drop the link in the description box. So I'm just going to paste them right here in the asset folder. So I have copied and pasted all the images right here. So, and also we have a data here. Let me collapse this. So in this data file, we have an array of objects for all the product details. Okay. So I've imported all the images right here. And also we have this array of objects. So for each object represents a food item. Let me just say a food cart, right? We have the ID, we have the name, we have description, we have the price, we have the image, and we have the category and the date it was added. So we have several objects right here representing a food object. Okay, so we're going to be using all of this later on in the tutorial. So now let us create the folders that will be in the components. So right here, we're going to have the first folder for navbar. We're going to have the second folder for hero. I'll create the third folder for footer. Then the next folder would be for products lists. Then we're going to have the carts folder. Also, we're going to have the context folder. So I'm just going to have shop context. Now for each of these folder, except shop context, we're going to have the GSX and CSS file. So for carts, we're going to have carts.gsx, RAFC to create React snippets. Press enter. And then we're going to have carts.css. And close this too. I'll do the same for footer. Footer.gsx, RAFC to create React snippets. Footer.css. And for hero section, hero.gsx, RAFC to create React snippets. Hero.css. Then for navigation bar as well, navbar.gsx, RAFC to create React snippet as well. Navbar.css. I will do for product lists.gsx, RAFC, product lists.css. Now we're going to come back to shop context later on in the tutorial. So let me close all of this. Now in our pages folder, we're going to have two folders. First folder will be the home page folder, and the second folder will be for product details. Products details. Now for home page, we're going to have this GSX file, RAFC, to create React snippets. While for product details page, we'll have two files: product details .gsx refc, product details .css. So we're going to close all of this now. So after creating all the folders and files that we're going to be using, and we have all the images, we need to start working on the project itself. Okay, so first off, we need to set up our routes. So in app.jsx right here, we're going to have the navigation bar at the top. So we have the nav bar right here. I'm going to import that as well. So we're going to do import nav bar from dot come on, component slash navbar slash navbar. Okay, then we're going to set up our routes. So we're going to have routes from React router DOM. Close it. In between these routes, we're going to use routes from React router DOM as well. And then we'll set the paths. So this will take forward slash because we want to set the path to the home page. So here we'll render the elements. Elements would be open our curly braces, and we're going to mount the home page. Then we'll close this. Next thing we need to set up is the routes for the carts. So we'll set up the paths forward slash carts. Then we'll render the elements here, and this would go to the carts components. We'll close this as well, and we're going to set up routes for product details page. Routes, the paths is going to be a dynamic path because we want to view a product details based on the ID. So we want to be able to view a specific product based on the ID. So this is going to take slash products. If it was just general products, like let's say we have just one product, then it's going to be slash product. But because we want to be able to view different products by their ID, want to be able to view their details, want to be able to view the page of that product by their ID, it's going to take a dynamic route. So we're going to have slash colon ID. And then we'll render the elements here. It's going to take product details page. Close this and then close this. Okay, this is what I mean. Okay, you know we have several products right here, right? If I click on this product, it's going to take me to the page. Okay, and the ID of this product is 1. And we can view the page when we click on the image. If I click on this product, it's going to take me to the product details page. The ID is 3, right? Slash product slash 3. Okay, so what we set up here is to ensure that we are able to view product details, the details of each product by their specific ID. If we come back here to the data that we have, where we have array of objects, so this object is representing a product, right? A food product in this case. We have ID. ID here is 1. We have the second ID. ID here is 2. And if we view what we're building, the ID here is 1, right? The name of the product is special fried rice with chicken, and the price is $100. The first product that we have here is what? Special fried rice with chicken, price $100. If I click on this now, you can see right here that the product ID is 1. We're viewing these product details based on that ID that we've provided. So that is what this setup is about. Now, after setting up our routes, we are now going to mount our footer that is going to be at the bottom of all the pages. And then we'll close it. Now we need to import all this. We only imported navigation bar. We will not import home page, cards, product details, and then footer. So we're going to have import home page from the home page is in pages folder slash home page slash home page. Then we have the product details page. So we're going to import product details from dot forward slash pages. Oh, come on, Control Z. Okay. Slash product details slash product details. Okay. And then we're going to import cart page. So we're going to import cart components. I mean, carts from dot forward slash components slash cart slash cart. And we're left with the footer. Imports. It should be in lowercase. Imports footer from dot forward slash components slash footer folder slash footer file. Okay, now that we've done this, let us re-explain a bit to refresh our memory. So after creating all the components and pages, folder, and files that we need, we're setting up our route right here, right? So we created React snippets for the application. This is the main thing that is going to show on the diner, right? So first off, we have a navigation bar, which is going to be at the top of all the pages. The navigation bar is going to be at the top, and then the footer is going to be at the bottom of all pages, and every other thing is going to be in between. Okay, so the first thing that's going to be in between is going to be the home page, right? But on the home page, we're going to have the navigation bar and the footer because we already set it here that the navigation bar will be at the top of all pages and the footer will be at the bottom of all pages. Now, if we now want to view this cart page, then we've already set it up, right? So if the user clicks on the cards page, whatever we want to use to link the cards page, they should be able to see it. Then for product details, this is it right here. It's taking a dynamic route because we want to be able to view a specific product by their ID. All right. Since we've already set this up now, we need to wrap our entire application with React Router DOM. Okay, so that we can navigate between pages in the application. So I'm going to delete this now, and then I'm going to turn this into a comment. And right here, we're going to use browser router to wrap it. Browser router from React Router DOM to wrap the application so that we can navigate between pages. And now if you check, you can see that we have navigation bar at the top of our pages, footer, and then we have the home page. Now, let's say we want to do localhost port 4000 slash carts. Instead of seeing this home page, you're going to see the carts page. Let me press enter. And you can see right here that we're on the carts page. Okay. If we head back to the home page, you're going to see it's back to the home page. So we've already set up the route so that we can navigate between pages. Now, what we need to do is to start building this project that we have here because this is what we want to achieve at the end of the tutorial. So we're building the navigation bar now. But if you notice something, you can see that the font that we're using here is quite different from this. This font is the same with this. So we need to get this font from Google Fonts. So I'm going to type Google Fonts, press enter. I already know the name of the font, so I'm just going to search for it directly, and then I'm going to get the embedded code for the font. Okay, so I'm just going to search for it, Antonio, press enter. So here is the font. Just once you type this, just click on this. Then you're going to click on get fonts. You hit this button right here, and then click on get embedded code. So we're using the import row. So the font that we want to use is this Antonio. Okay, so first off, we need to copy this import row right here. You copy this and then paste it in our CSS file. So I'm just going to paste this right here. And now I'm going to copy this as well. And I'm going to paste it here as well. But I'm going to turn it to a comment and I'm going to come back to it. I'll just come and pick it when I need it. So let's create our navigation bar. So now let's create our navigation bar. So this is what the nav bar looks like. We have links here, we have lists here, we have the name of the diner at the center, and we have an icon. That means that we're going to create 3 div tags. So we're going to have a div tag that will be the container. and the class name is going to be navbar. We'll have the first one in the container for links. Second one would be for logo header, and then the last one would be for icon. Now, for the link, we're going to have the lists, two list items. First one would be home, second one would be dishes. Then for the second div tag, which is for the logo, we'll have an h2 tag, which is going to take this JSON diner. And for the third one, we're going to have the icon. And in the icon, would have a we'll have a text, and we're going to have the icon. So we're going to have the cat icon. So I'm just going to type in cats, and React is going to suggest list of icon that matches this. So I'm going to be using the second icon right here, and you can see that it has imported it for me as well. Then we'll have a p tag with a class name of nav quantity, and here I'm just going to use 0 for now. So this is what we have in the navigation bar. So if you do not want to use this icon like this, you can visit this website to get the icon. You can visit React icons, just type React icons, and then you should visit this page, react-icon.github.io/react-icon. Then you can search for icons, and you can select whichever icon matches your project. So let's say you want to use this icon, just click on this. You're going to get the import here, you're going to get the code, and then you're going to get the tag. Okay, so you can do this, or better still, just type in the icon. If you know the icon that you want to use, just type it in and then select from the list of icons that React is going to suggest. So this is the navigation bar that we have now. If we check this, this is what you're going to see. Now we need to style it so that it's going to look exactly like this. So now we're going to style this now. But before styling, we have a div tag here from our snippets. Then we have this navbar container right here. In the navbar container, we have 3 div tags: the link, the logo header, and then the icon wrapper. So let's style. I'm going to open navbar.css. So we need to import our CSS file into our JSX file. So we'll start by styling the navbar. We'll set the padding of this to 30 pixels, and then we'll have padding inline 80 pixels. We'll set display to flex, and then justify content space between, and then we're going to style the link. So for the link, we'll have a UL tag and then an LI tag. So we're going to style UL. We'll set the display to flex, and then we'll add a gap between each of the list items. So the gap will take 20 pixels. Then the list items dot link UL LI. List style will be set to none. And then I'll set the font size of all the list items to 18 pixels. The font weight will take 600. And then text transform, I want all the text to be in uppercase. Then we have the logo header with an h2 tag inside. We're going to set the font size of this to 1.5 rem. And then the font family, we're going to get it from index.css. So I'm just going to copy this that I pasted earlier, and I'll paste it right here. So the font weight, I'm going to set it to 600. Format the document so everything is going to look okay. And then we have this nav icon wrapper. So for this, we're going to set display to flex. The position is going to be set to relative, and then I'll set cursor to pointer. Then we have this cat icon. So I'll give it a class name so that I can set the font size. I'll give it nav icon. So I'm going to copy this now and then paste here. The font size of this icon will take 34 pixels, and then margin left, I'll set that to 35 pixels. Then we have the quantity. So I'm going to set the background of that to red. Position will be absolute. I'll set right to -9 pixels. The top would take -11 pixels. I'll set the font size to 12 pixels. The height will take 20 pixels. The width will take 20 pixels as well. And then border radius will take 50%. The text color will be white. And then I'm going to set display to flex, justify content, center, align items, center as well. So now this is what we have right here for our navigation bar. So we're going to set the background color of the entire page now so that we can have something like this. So open index.css, and for the entire body, I'm going to set the background color to this color code. Now we should see the difference here. You can see that the color is the same. All right, so now that we're done with the navigation bar, we need to work on the hero section. So I'm going to close index.css, navbar, and this. Then we're going to open our hero. So in the hero section is going to be in the home page. So I'm going to mount it right here in the home page. Hero. Then I'll close the tag. Now I'm going to import it right here. Import hero from dot forward slash no, dot forward slash then component slash hero file. Okay, so for the area section, we're going to use an image. So we're going to be using the image that we have here in our assets folder, this pasta 2 image. So I'll close this now. Continue with hero section. First off, I need to import the image. I'm going to name in this particular file, I'm going to name the image hero image. Import hero image from dot forward slash assets folder slash pasta 2 png, because that is the name of the image right here, pasta2.png. Now we'll create a div tag, the hero container. So I'm just going to name the div tag hero container. Then we're going to have the content. So I'll name this hero content as well. In the content, we'll have an h1 tag that will take this text, and then we're going to have an image. So for the source of the image is going to be this hero image that we have here that we have imported. Okay, so if we check now, we should see this right here. So I'm going to style so that it's going to look exactly like this. So we'll open our hero.css, but first we need to import our css file into our gsx file. .4/hero.css. We'll start by styling hero container. Copy this and then we'll paste it right here. I'll set the height, so 120 vh. I'll set display to grid. Place all items at the center. Then we're going to have the hero content. So for the hero content, we want all text at the center. So text align center. And then we have an h1 tag here. So dot hero content h1. I'm going to set the font size to 12 rem. And then we're going to get the other properties from index.css because we're using the font, this font family. So I'll copy this and then I'll come paste it right here. I'll set the font weight to 600 as well. Then I'm going to format this document. Next thing we have here is the image. So I'll give the image a class name of hero image. So I'll copy this right here. And then I'll paste it here. Ctrl Z, hero image. I'm going to set the width to 1000 pixels. I'm going to set the height to 750 pixels. I'm going to do object fit contain and then margin top. We'll take -7 rem because I want it to lay a bit on top of the H1. So this is what we have now, and it's exactly like this. Okay, so now that we're done with the hero section, the next thing is the food display. So I'm going to close this as well, and then we're going to open our product list, which is where we're going to be displaying the food card. But before this, we need to work on the context. Okay, so let me create shop context dot gsx. Okay, so for the shop context, you're going to think of shop context as a global state to store data. So think of it as a global store for everything related to products and shopping carts. So in this case, we're going to be creating our products and cart states in the shop context. And this is going to allow us share data across components. So let's say we have product list, product details page, and also a cart page. All of them need to access the same product, right? For this project, actually. So in this project, we're going to put all of those data, like the product data and the cart data, in a centralized place so that it will be easy for all components and pages to have access to the data. So think of shop context as a centralized store where you can have all the data that every other component and pages need. So you can have it in one place, and then you can just use them like other components can use them, update them, have access to them. So that is what shop context is for, and that is what we're going to be using for our product today. So let's get to it. We're going to create our shop context now. First off, we need to import React from React package, and then we're going to create our context. So we're going to have const shop context will be equal to, we'll use the create context. Remember that I said that we want other components to be able to have access to our shop context. So we're going to use export. Okay. Then shop context basically is to store data. So we need to import our shop data, which we're going to be getting from this asset data.gsx. So I'm going to import product data from dot.forward slash asset slash data. Our product data is inside this data file that I showed earlier. We have this product data here. This is where we're storing all the data that we want to use for this project. So now we've created our context and then we have imported the data that we need. Next is to create our shop context provider function. So I'm going to have const shop context provider will be equals to pass children, create the function, and then export the function, export defaults shop context provider function. Inside this shop context provider function, we're going to use a return statement and then we'll return shop context dot provider, and we'll pass children right here. Okay, so this is what we need now. Then inside the function, we'll now have our states, the product states, the functions that we want other component to have access to. So we'll start with the product states because we want to create our products list. So I'm going to have const state variable for products, and then a setup function to update it. Set products, use states. By default, we want to set it to the products data that we're getting from our asset folder. Then after this now, we're now going to add the value of the states and the functions that we want other components to have access to in here. So I'm going to type in value. The first one that we have is the products. So that components will have access to this product state. And then we are going to wrap our entire application with shop context so that every other pages and components in this application can have access to whatever we have here in shop context. So I'm going to cut this, highlight, and then Ctrl X. Then we'll type in shop context provider, and then in between I'll paste what I just cut. Okay, so we've done this now. Then we have the product. So let me re-explain a bit. Let's have a recap. Like I said before, shop context, the context API, in this case, shop context, is a centralized place to manage data so that other components can have access to it without having to pass the data down as props in their component level. So let's say for this project now, we have the product list, we have the product details page, we have the carts page, and then we have other components, we have other folders, right? We have the navigation bar folder, the navigation bar component that is going to need the, the states from the carts, that's going to need function from the carts. Instead of having to go to navigation bar, write the function to get cart quantity, going to the product details, write the function to add to cart, we're just going to have those functions here in this file, in this page, so that every other component can just take from the states and the functions that we have defined here, basically. So we started by importing React from React package, and then we created our context right here in this file, which is export const shop context equals create context. And then we're working with data basically. So the data that we need, we've already created it in the asset folder right here. This data.gsx file. I've created it and I'm going to drop the link in the description box. So we're going to import the data. That is what we've done right here. Then we created the shop context provider function. And then I passed children as props right here. Then we created our state variable that is going to hold the data, which is the product, and a setup function to update whenever there is a change, when there is an update in the product. Then by default, we're setting the product state, which is the data that this is going to be holding, to product data, which is what we imported from here. Then we return right here, we return shop context as provider, and then we're going to be passing every other values, which is going to include the states, the functions, that we're going to write for shop context. Then we pass children right here, and then we exported the shop context provider. Then in the main.gsx, I use the shop context provider to wrap our entire application so that every other component and pages would have access to whatever we have in shop context provider. So now that we're done with this, we can now take this product from shop context and then use it right here in our product list.gsx. We can use these product states that we have exported right here. We can use it right here. So let's do that. Okay, so first off, we need to extract the product states from shop context. So we're going to have const products be equal to use context shop context. Okay, so we can have access to everything that we have defined here. So now let's create our product lists. So we'll create a div tag with a class name of products list as the container. Inside this container, we're going to have our h2 tag with this text, our awesome dish. Then we're going to have another div tag for the product grid or food display. So let me just say product display. Inside this, we're going to map over this product state right here so that we can display the data that we have in this product state. So right here, we're going to do products dot map method. We'll pass products. Inside here, we're going to use a return statement. Return. We'll open another div tag for the product card. We're mapping over products so that we can display each product as a card. So we'll create another div tag for products card. Inside this product card, we're going to have the image of the product, the name, the price, and then add to cart button. But to uniquely identify each of the products, we need to pass a key, and it's going to take ID so that we can uniquely identify each of the products. As I said earlier, we have data.gsx, which is where we have our files. So this is the products. These are all the products data, right? So we have different products. This is an object. This is another object. This is another object. We need to uniquely identify this one right here so that it can display on its own without, like, it can display the name, the description, price that is peculiar to this ID right here. We want to display everything that we have here that is peculiar to this particular ID right here. So that is why we're using the key as ID so that we can uniquely identify each of all these products that we have listed here. So now that we've done this, we're going to have inside our product card, we're going to have our image tag, and the image is going to take products dot image. After the image, we'll create a div tag for product info. So product info. Inside the product info, we'll have an h4 tag, and that is going to take the name, product.name. Then we're going to have the price. So we'll use a p tag. So we'll have our $sign, then we'll have product.price. Then after this div tag, after the product info div tag, we're now going to have our button with the class name of add to cart. Let's just say call to action button, and then that is going to take add to cart as the text. And now we have our product list. So we need to mount this product list in our home page because that is where we want to display it. So after the hero section, we're going to have product lists. Then I'll close this tag. We have our product list in the hero section in the components folder, right? So instead of having to retype, I'm just going to copy this import that we have here, and then I'll paste this here. But I'm now going to change this. I'll highlight this, then do Control D twice, and then I'll retype product list. So now if we check the home page, if we check, okay, we're running into an error. Let us see what the problem is. I'll click on console. Reference error, ID is not defined. Okay. So right here in the product list, we did key is ID. So it's supposed to be product.id. Now let us see. All right. So everything looks good. And you can see that all the dishes have been, you can see every single thing right here. We have the image, we have the name, we have the price, and then we have our call to action button. Okay. So there's something that we need to do. It's just a way to write React better, is more like best practices. So it's called destructuring. I believe you've heard of it before. So for destructuring, is useful to write cleaner code when coding. So destructuring basically helps us write cleaner code. It makes our code more readable, for better readability and to understand at a glance. So now what we're going to do is to destructure our products. So instead of having to have product.id, product.image, product.name, product.price, we're just going to destructure. So we're just going to do const, open brackets, we'll have ID, image, name and price, all will be equal to product. And then I'm just going to delete all the products that we have right here. I'm going to select them. I'll delete this. I'll delete this product.image, leaving only image. I'll delete this product.name. I'll delete this product.price. Products. Okay. If we check, we're still going to have the same thing. If I reload, it is still going to be the same thing. So the structuring basically helps us write cleaner code, having a shorter syntax instead of repeating product.id, product.image, product.name, product.price every single time. So right here, we just destructured before the return statement. All right, so now that we have this, we need to style our product list so that we can have it like this right here. We can have a card like this. Okay, so let us style. I'm going to close the shop context, close this, and then we're going to open our product list to CSS. But first off, we need to import the CSS file into the GSX file. Then we'll start styling product lists. So we'll style this product list. Now I'll copy this, then I'll paste it right here. Ctrl Z dot product list. We're going to set the max width to 1200 pixels. Then we'll set the margin. We'll set padding to 20 pixels. All text should be at the center. And then we'll set margin top to 80 pixels. Then in the product list container, we have an H2 tag. So we're going to style the H2 tag. We'll give it margin bottom from the product display, 20 pixels. We'll set the font size to 3 rem. And then the color, we'll take this color code. Then every other property would come from this. So we'll copy this and then paste it here. So we'll set this font width to 600 as well. Next thing to style is the product display container. So I'll copy this, then I'll paste it here. So for product display, we'll set display to grid, and then grid template colon repeat autofill auto hyphen fill over the comma, the minimum and maximum value would be 250 pixels. Then we'll set the gap between each of the product card to 20 pixels. Next thing to style is the product card itself. So we'll style product card. So I'll copy this, then I'll paste it here. So for product card, we'll set the background color to white. Then the border, we'll take 1 pixel solid with this color code. Border radius, we'll take 8 pixels. And then padding will be 15 pixels. Okay, so we have an image here. I'll give it a class name of product image. So I'll style this. I'll copy this, then paste it here. So the max width will take 100%. Border radius will take 8 pixels. Then we'll set margin bottom to 10 pixels. We'll set the height to 250 pixels. Transform scale of 0.9. Then what transition? Transform 0.2 seconds is in out. Then when the user over on the product image, we're going to set the transform to 1. So product image over effect transform scale of 1. Next thing here is the product info. So I'll copy this. In the product info, we have an H4 tag and we have a P tag. So We'll start with the H4 tag. We'll set the font size to 1.2 rem. We'll set margin to 10 pixel 0 and then 5 pixels. And the color, we'll take this color code. Then for the P tag, I'm going to set the font size to 1.5 rem and then color to this color code. Next is the CTA button. We'll set the width to 100%. We'll set margin top to 10 pixels. The display would be block. And then I'll set the background color with this color code. Then the text color will take white. The border around it will be set to none. The font size will take 1 rem. Cursor will set this to pointer. And then border radius will take 5 pixels. And then we'll set padding to be 10 pixels. So if we check now, this is what we have. So we have a product card now. We have several product cards. In each product card, we have an image. If you hover on it, you can see that there's an effect on the transform property. Then there's the name of the product, there's price, and then there's a call to action button. Okay. So now the next thing that we're going to work on is to ensure that when we click on this add to cart button, we're able to add products to carts. Okay, we're able to add products to our cart page, and then on the cart page, we're able to increase, decrease, check out, do every other stuff related to carts. So let's do that now. Cart system. I said earlier that we're going to be having the cart logic in shop context so that other components can have access to the cart state and update the cart state without having to pass it down as props. So we're going to have our cart right here in shop context. So first off, we need to create the state variable that is going to hold the cart data and then the setter function to update the cart when there is a change. And by default, we're going to initialize the cart data with an empty array. So we're going to have const cart setter function set cart be equals to use state. We're going to initialize it with an empty array. So now after this, we're now going to create another state variable and a setter function for quantity. So the state variable is going to store the quantity of items that we have in our cart and a setter function that is going to update the quantity if there is a change. And by default, we're going to initialize the quantity with 0. So I'm going to have const quantity setter function. Oh no, quantity. Yeah, comma setter function set quantity. Use state would be 0. Also, we'll create a state variable for the total price and the setter function to update the total price, and we're going to initialize that to 0 as well. So I'm going to have const total setter function, comma, set total, use state. By default, we initialize the total with 0 as well. Then we can now start writing the functions. So the first function that we're going to write is to calculate the total price of items that we have in the cart. So we're going to be using use effect for this so that it can run an effect whenever the price change. So we're going to have use effect. Then we'll create this function right here. So the first is to use the reduce method to calculate the total price. So I'm going to have const. This variable here is going to store the total price. So total will be equals cart dot reduce, open our bracket. We're going to have our accumulator, comma, current item, Okay, so let me close this so that we can have a larger screen. Now, we are now going to create a variable to convert the price to a number, and then we use an if statement to check for invalid prices. If the price is invalid, if the price is not invalid, then we'll return the accumulator. So let's do that. Let's convert first. And price as a number is going to store the conversion. So price as number will be equal to, we want to convert to a floating point number. We want to convert the current item price. So we're going to have current item dot price. Okay. Then skip invalid prices. If the price is not a number, so if price as a number is not a number, we're just going to return accumulator. But if it is, which is going to be after this if statement, we're going to add price times quantity to the accumulator. So we're going to return accumulator plus price as number multiply by current item dot amount, the amount that we have for the current item. And I'm going to initialize the accumulator with 0. Okay. And so we're going to update the total state once we have the total. Set total. We'll call the set total function and then we'll update the state with the new total. Okay, so this is basically the new total. We're using the reduce method and then we're working on all this logic. So first we use the reduce method to calculate the total price. Then we're converting the price to a number. So the current item price, we're converting it to a number. And then we use an if statement to check if the number that we converted is not a number, then it should return accumulator. If it returns a string, if the price as number is not a number, it should return accumulator. If it is a number, then we want to add the accumulator with the price that we've gotten multiplied by the current item times amount. Then we're updating the total state. And then I'm going to add cart here as a dependency array to ensure that the use effect runs when the carts change. Okay, so that is for total price. Next thing we need to work on now is the quantity of items we have in the carts. So we'll use effects for this as well. First off, we need to check if the cart is not empty. So if cart exists, then we'd use the reduce method to sum up the quantity of all the items. So const amount would be equals to cart does reduce. We're going to have our accumulator and then current item as well. Then we'll return accumulator plus current item dot amount. So basically we're adding the current item amount to the accumulator, and then I'm going to initialize the accumulator with 0 as well. Now we can now update the quantity. So we're going to have set quantity amount. And I'm also going to pass cart here as dependency array to ensure that the use effect runs whenever the cart changes. After this, the next function that we need to work on is a function to add a product to carts. Okay, so I'm going to name the function add to cart. So we're going to have const add to cart is the name of the function. We're adding products and ID. So I'm going to have products and ID right here. Okay, so first we need to create a new item with the initial quantity of 1. So I'm going to have const new item will be equal to spread the products, comma, we initialize the quantity with 1. Next step is to find if the product is already in the cart. So we're going to have cost, and we'll save that in cart item in this variable. So we use find method cart.find item. We'll check if the item ID matches. So we're going to return. We want to find if the product already exists in the cart, just to return it. So this is what we're using to check if the product already exists in the cart. If it does exist in the cart, if the product is already in the cart, we'll map over the cart to update the quantity of the existing item. So we're going to check if cart item, that means if the product exists in the cart, which is this right here. Okay. If the product exists in the cart, let's map over it. So const new cart would be, we'll spread the cart dot map pass item. Then we'll check if the current item ID matches the product ID, then increase the quantity. So if item dot ID equals ID, then you return spread item, comma, amount. We'll update the amount with cat item dot amount. And if the product ID, if the item ID does not match with the product ID, we're just going to return the item. So I'm just going to use an else statement here. Else return item. Okay. Then we're now going to update the cart state with the updated quantity. So we're going to set cart with new carts. Okay, so basically what we did here, or better still, the first line of code here is to create a new item with the initial quantity of 1. Then for these 3 lines of code, we're checking if the product is already in the cart. So once we return the product that is already in the cart, the ID of the product that is already in the cart. Then for this line of code right here, we're using an if statement to check if product already exists in the cart, which is the first 3 line of code before this. If the product already exists in the cart, we're mapping over the cart to update the quantity of the existing item. Then we want to use an if statement to check if the current item ID matches the products that already exist in the cart. Then increase the quantity to 1. That means we have the products in the carts before, but the user still wants to add the same product again to the carts. So we're checking what the user is adding now with what's already exists in the cart. If they match, then increase the quantity by 1 again. Otherwise, return the item as it is. That means add the product newly to the cart because it does not exist in the cart, right? And then if the two conditions are met, if either it exists in the cart, we re-add it to the cart. That means we increase the quantity by 1, or it does not exist in the cart, then we add it newly to the cart. We are updating the cart states with the new cart. Okay, so then we also need to check if the product is not in the cart at all. We want to add it newly to the cart. So we're going to use an else statement where this if ends. Set cart. We want to update our cart states with the new cart, new item, and then we'll display a toast notification. Toast from React Toastify dot success product added to cart. Okay, so let's see. React Toasty file has been imported, but in our app.gsx, we're yet to use the toast container. So right here, I'm going to have toast container from React Toastify, and I'm going to close this right here. Okay, so back to our code. I hope this line of code is understood, we're using an if else statement to check if the cart item exists. That means this part, if it exists, if any product is already added to carts. Okay. So if the cart item exists, we'll map over the carts to update the quantity of the existing item. And we're using an if statement to check if the current item ID matches the product ID, the existing product and the cart. If the new item that the user wants to add, if it matches, then we're increasing the quantity. If it doesn't, then we want to return the item as it is and update the new cart. And if the item is not in the cart at all, then we are adding it newly to the cart. So this is our add to cart function. So the next function now, after this add to cart, is going to be the function to clear the entire cart items. So I'm going to name the function clear cart. So I'm going to have const clear cart. Okay, so to delete the entire cart, we just need to set the cart state to an empty array. So I'll use the set cart function. Then I'll set it to an empty array. And also I'll display toast notification, toast the success cart empty. Okay, then the next function now is to write a function to remove a specific product from the cart. I'm going to name the function remove from cart. So const remove from cart will be equals to, first we need to filter out the product with the specified ID. So we need to get the products. We need to get the ID of the products that we want to remove from our cart. So we're going to have const new cart will be equals to cart dot filter item. Now we'll keep only items whose ID doesn't match, and we'll remove the item that their ID match. So we're going to return item that the ID does not match. So item.id that is not equals to the ID of the one that we want to remove. That's the only product that we're going to be keeping. Then we're going to update the cart state. So set carts with the new carts in this function. Also, we'll display a toast notification. Okay, set carts set. We'll display a toast notification. Toast dot success products removed successfully. Okay, so this is a function to remove products from carts. Then the next function that we need to work on now is to increase the quantity of a specific product in the cart. So I'm going to name the function increase amounts or increase products. So let's just name it increase quantity. And we're increasing specifically by ID. The first step here is to find the product in the cart by its ID. So we're going to have const cart item will be equals to cart dot find method. We want to find the item, so we're going to pass in item. We want to find the item dot ID that matches with the ID of the one that we want to increase. When we find it, we're now going to call the add to cart function and reuse the logic to increase the quantity. So we're just going to have add to cart. We'll call the cart item where we're storing the ID, and then we'll pass the ID as well. Okay, so this is the function to increase the quantity of a specific item in the cart. Now let's write a function to decrease the quantity of a specific item in the cart. I'm going to name the function decrease quantity. And we're decreasing specifically by ID, so I'm going to pass ID right there as well. So first off, we need to find the product in the cart by its ID. So we're going to do the same thing, const cart item is equal to cart dot find item. Then we return item dot id that matches with the ID of the one we want to decrease in the cart. Then next is to check if a product exists in the cart. We'll map over the cart to update the quantity. That is to reduce it. So we're going to check if cart item const new carts be equals to cart.map item. If the current item ID matches the product ID, then we'll decrease the quantity by one. So we'll do if item.id equals ID, then return item, then we'll decrease the amount. Cart item dot amount, we'll decrease the amount by one. Okay. And if it doesn't, if it does not match, we'll return the item as it is. So return item. Now we're going to update the cart state. Okay. If the product quantity, so we use an else statement here. Else. If the product quantity is less than 2, we're just going to remove the product from the cart. So if cart item dot amount is less than 1, then we'll remove it from the cart. We'll just call the remove from cart function and then pass the ID of that product that we're trying to decrease. Okay, if it's less than 2 here. So we have all the functions right here. So this is basically all the logic that we're going to be using. And now we need to add them to these values here so that other components can have access to it. We need the cart state. We need the add to cart function. We need remove from cart function. We need the clear cart function. We need the increase quantity. We need the decrease quantity. We need quantity itself. And also we need total states. Okay, so we have all the functions right here. Now we're going to build our cart page. I'm going to close every other thing that we have open. Close index.css, close up.csx, and we're going to start working on the cart page. So right here, I've opened the cart page, and then we'll start. So for our cart, first thing we need to do is to extract the state variable and then the function that we need in this cart. So I want to show you all the cart page of the project that we're trying to build. This one is already built, right? So I'm going to add. I've added 3 products in the cart. So if we view if I click on this now, you're going to see the cart page, right? So for this cart page, I want to quickly explain something. We have this left section here, and we have this right section here. On the left section, we have the shopping cart items, we have an icon here, and then we have another subheader before the cart details. Okay, so this part here is the cart details of the image of the item that we added to cart, name of the item we added to cart, this remove here, the quantity control, the price, and then total. And then on the right hand side, we have the cart summary where we have the item, subtotal, shipping, promo code, and total cost. So that means that when we are coding the cart page, we're going to have 2 sides. We'll have the left side and the right side. And also, we're going to have the cart details page. Like we're going to have the cart details in another file. So on the cart page itself, minus this cart details, the functions that we need here is clear carts, right? We need the quantity of item that we have In the cart, we need the total, and then we need the cart state like that we have already in our shop context. So that is what I'm going to extract now. So we're going to do const cart, the cart state, which is a variable that is going to store the values that we're going to have in our cart. The clear cart function, we need the total state variable, and then we need the quantity, which is what is going to tell us the number of items that we have in our cart. So by default, oh sorry, this is use context, not use states. So we want to extract this from our shop context. Let me close this so that we can have a wider screen. Okay, if you view now, we have this cart state here. We have the clear cart function. We have the quantity and the total as well. Okay, so every other one like increase quantity, decrease quantity, remove from carts will be for the cart details page. So let me just create cart details right here in our cart folder. So we're going to have cart details dot gsx refc. I'm going to import cart details. We're going to use this import cart details from dot forward slash cart details. Okay, so now that we have extracted the values and functions that we want to have in our carts, let us now work on the UI. So I'll start by creating a div tag. I'll give it a class name of cart container. Inside the cart container, we're going to have the left side and the right side. So we have cart left and cart right. On the left hand side, we're going to have two headers. So cart header multiplied by 2. The first one will take two H1 tags. First tag will take shopping carts. The next H1 would take items to show the quantity of items that we have in brackets. We'll close this bracket, and then the quantity would be quantity that we extracted from shop context, this quantity right here. Then after this, we're now going to use the trash icon. So I'll just type in trash. Because I've installed the React icon, React is going to suggest list of icons that's going to match this. Okay, you can see that we have several icons here. I'm going to be using the second, this one right here. And you can see that this has imported already. Okay. And for this trash icon, we want a case where when the user clicks on the trash icon, the entire cart will be deleted. So we're going to call the clear cart function. So I would use an onClick method to call the clear cart. Then I'm going to close this icon. So this is for the first header. Now the second header, which is like the sub header, is going to take first span tag. The first span tag will take this text, product description. Second one would take quantity. The third span tag would take price. And then the last one would take this text total. Then after this div for the second cart header, we're now going to have the cart detail. Okay, we have the first header and the second header. We're going to have cart detail. In the cart detail, we're going to map over our cart state to display the cart details page, which is this page. Although we're yet to have nothing here, so let us map. But before mapping, we need to check if, let me show you. If I delete the entire cart now, you can see right here that it says your cart is empty. Okay, so we need to check the quantity of item that we have in cart to ensure that we have something in cart. If we have nothing in cart, if the length of the cart is 0, then we should display your cart is empty. If it is not, then it should display the cart details page. So that is what we want to do here. So now we're going to check cart dot length method, length. Okay, is greater than 0. We're going to use the ternary operator. Then it should do this. If it is not, then it should do this. Okay, so if it is greater than 0, then we'll map over the cart state to display the cart details. So we'll pass the item, the cart items, then we'll mount our cart details here. And then we'll pass item as a prop, which is going to be equal to item. And also to uniquely identify each of the cart details, we'll use item.id for the key. Then we'll close this. Then if it is not, we'll display a text with a p tag that would say your cart is empty. All right, so this is for the left side. Now to the right side. Before we start writing the right side, let's just go back once more and understand what we did. So we have the cart container, which contains the left and the right section of the cart, right? And then we have the cart header. We have two cart header. The first header takes this text, shopping cart, items, and the item will be we're displaying the quantity of item that we have in the cart. Then we have a trash icon here that we want to ensure that when the user clicks on this trash icon, they are able to clear the entire cart. So we called the clear cart function using this onClick method. Now for the second edit tag, we have 4 span tags for product description, quantity control, price, and then total. Then we have our cart details. In this cart details, we're using a ternary operator to check if the length of the items in the cart is greater than 0, then we want to display this. If it is not, we want to display this. Okay, so if it is greater than 0, we're mapping over the cart state to display the cart details and the items. And to uniquely identify each of the items that we've added to carts, we're using key item.id, and then we're passing item here as a props. If it is not, then we want to display your cart is empty. So that's simply what we just did here. Now for the right side, we're going to have the header. We'll use an h2 tag for cart summary. Then after this, we're now going to have 4 div tags for our summary item. First one will take 2 span tags. Span times 2. Okay. First one, items, and then the second one will take the quantity. Second summary item will take the subtotal. So we're going to have 2 span tags as well. First we'll take the text subtotal, and the second span tag would take total right here. Okay, but we want to check something. We want to ensure that if the total we want to ensure that the total we are displaying is a number. Okay, so we're not going to do it directly like this. We're going to we'll use if not a number, if total is not a number, use the ternary operator, then it should display 0. If it is, then it should display total directly. Okay, so I'll put a dollar sign here since we're using dollar sign. So what we did basically here is just to check if total is not a number, then it should display 0. If it is, it should display the total. Now for the next summary item, we would use two span tags as well. First one will take shipping fee. In this case, for this project, shipping fee is free. I have other projects where we added shipping fee and we calculated it, and I'm going to drop them in the description box. So do well to check that. And now for the last summary item is where we'll have our total cost. Span tag times 2 as well. First one will take total cost, and then we'll display the total cost. So we're going to do it like this as well. Okay. Also, for this last summary item, for this total, we want to style it differently. So I'm going to add another. I'm going to add another class name to this. Then after this, we're now going to have our checkout button. And it's going to say checkouts. Okay, so this is what we have now. So now we're going to create the cart details page. So for our cart details page, we need to extract the remove from cart function, increase quantity and decrease quantity function that we created in our shop context. So I'm just going to copy this, Ctrl C, extract const, remove from cart, increase quantity and decrease quantity, paste it right here. Let me format document. So everything will be equals to use context, shop context. Ensure that shop context is imported. Remember that in the carts page, we passed item as props. So we need to get item as well. And then the next thing we need to do now is to destructure item. So right here, we're going to have consts. For an item, we need the ID, right? The title. We need an image of the item. We need the price and then the amount. All will be equal to item. Okay, so now that we've destructured item, we can now start working on our cart details UI. So we'll have a div tag with the class name of cart item. So now we're going to have a div tag for the product details. Then after the product details, we'll have another div tag for quantity. After quantity, we'll have a div tag for price. And then we'll have another div tag for total. So in the product details container, we're going to have an image, and the source of the image is going to be the image that we destructured in our item. After image, we'll have a div tag for product info. In product info, we'll have an h3 tag for the title of the product, which is also the name. Then we'll have the trash icon. So I'm just going to type in trash, and then React is going to suggest list of icon that's going to match this name. So we're going to be using this second icon here. So for this trash icon, we want to ensure that when the user clicks on it, they're able to delete an entire item from the cart. So we would use an onClick method to call the function remove from cart, And then we're going to pass ID because we want to remove specific item with their ID. So this is for product info. Now to the quantity control. We're going to have two button tags. Two button tags. And then in between the button, we're going to have span tag. Control Z. Okay. In between the buttons, we'll have a span tag that is going to take amount. The first button will be the decrement button. So we're going to use the remove icon. So I'm just going to type in the icon directly. MD remove icon. Then I'll close the icon. Now when the user clicks on the button, we want to decrease the quantity. The button contains the icon, right? So we use an on-click method as well to call the decrease quantity function. Then we'll pass the ID because we want to remove a specific, we want to decrease the quantity of a specific item. Now to the second button, we want to increase the quantity. So we'll use this icon. I'll close this. Then for the button, I'll use an on-click method to call the increase quantity function, and then I'll pass the ID. Then we have the price. For the price, we're just going to pass price directly. Then we have total. For the total, is going to be the price times amount. That means the amount is going to be quantity of item that we have in the cart. So we're going to have price. Open our curly braces, do price multiplied by amount. So let's test everything that we've done out. This is our page right here. I'm going to add this item to cart, just one item. You can see right here, it's showing that we have one item in the cart, and you can see it shows here one item. We have this to delete the entire. This is the subheader. This is the image of that item. The icon to delete the item. The quantity control to increase and decrease. You can see the price is 220 and the total price is 220 as well. This is the cart summary and every other thing is right here. So now let us style so that this can look like, so we can have something like this. Okay, so let us style. I'm going to open cart.css, but before that we need to, let me close this. We need to import our CSS file into our JSX file. So import the /cart.css. And then we'll start by styling the cart container. So we'll set display to flex, justify content, space between, padding should take 20 pixels. Then we'll start styling the left. I'll copy this and then paste it right here. We'll set the width of this to take 65% of our entire screen. The background color is going to be white. And then I'll set padding of this as well to 20 pixels. Border radius should take 10 pixels. Then we'll style this right as well. We'll still come back to what we have in the left. Okay. We'll set the width of this to 30%. It should take 30% of the screen size. Background color should take this color code. And then padding will take 20 pixels. Border radius should take 10 pixels. Okay, now we have the cart header. We'll continue styling with what we have in the left section of our cart. For the cart header, we'll set the display to flex, justify content, one space between, And then margin top should take 20 pixels. Font width will be bold. And we have this icon here. So I'll give it a class name of delete cards. I want to style this separately. So for delete cart icon, I'll set the font size to 22 pixels. Then the second cart header has span tag, so we need to style the span tag. Cart header span. We'll set the font size to 20 pixels. Margin left should take 90 pixels. And then we have the summary item in the we'll start cart details. We have a page, right? So let's continue with the cart right. We'll style summary item. So for summary item, we'll set display to flex, justify content, space between as well. Margin top should take 10 pixels. Then the last summary item has total cost as its class name. So the summary item total cost. We want to set the font width to bold and the font size should take 18 pixels. Then we have checkout button. We'll set the width to 100%. Background color should take this color code. The text color will take white. I'll set padding of 15 pixels. Border should be set to none. Cursor, the pointer, and then margin top should take 20 pixels. Okay, so now we're done with styling the cart right. Now for the cart details is what we're going to style. We'll start by styling this cart item. Paste this here. I'll set the display to flex, justify content, space between, align item center, margin top should take 20 pixels, and then we'll set padding 10 pixels. Border bottom will take 1 pixel solid with this color code. Next is the product details. In the product details, we're going to set display to flex, justify content as well, space between, align items center, and then max width should take 50%. We have an image in product details. We'll set the width of the image to 60 pixels and the height would be 60 pixels as well. Then margin right will take 20 pixels. And then we have the product info. In the product info, we have an h3 tag. So for product info, we'll set the margin, to 0. Product info h3, we'll set margin to 0. And then we'll set the font size to 18 pixels. Then we have the quantity container. We'll set display to flex, align items, center. Then in the quantity container, we have two buttons and a span tag. So we'll start with the button. We'll set the width of this button to 30 pixels and the height with the same value. Let me delete this forward slash typo error, and then we'll set the background color to this color code. We'll set border to none, cursor will be pointer, display will be flex, align items at the center, justify content, center, font size will take 18 pixels. Next thing is the span tag. For the span tag, we'll set margin 10 pixels. Next thing here is the price and then total. So we'll start the price and the total together. I'll set the font size of this to 16 pixels, and then the color will take this color code. Okay, so we're done styling this now. Now let's see what we have. Okay, right now it's showing that our cart is empty. So let us add. I'm going to add 1, 2. If we check now, you can see what we have. This is looking all good. Okay, the only thing here is we did not add gap in our cart container, so we need to add gap. So let us add gap of 15 pixels. Let's see. You can see now that there's gap between this and this now. Okay, you can increase, you can decrease, you can see that this is changing. You can delete the entire cart and then you get your cart is empty. Let's go back here and let's add 1, 2, 3, 4. You can see what we have now. I can increase, decrease. You can see the price is changing. I can delete that item. The item has been deleted from the cart. You can see the summary as well. Everything is working perfectly well. Now the next thing that we're going to work on now is our product details page, in the sense that when we click on an image, it should lead us to the details of that product. It should lead us to the page of that product. We should see more about the product. We should see a larger image. We should see the name of the product, the price, description, and also a call to action button, just like we have it here. Okay, if I click on this now, you can see this page. Okay, so let's get to that. I need to close everything that we have. Then I'll open product list. This is what we're going to start from. The image is what we want to work with. So I'll create a link tag from React Router DOM. I'll press tab. And then in between this link, we're going to cut and paste our image in between. I'm going to delete this extra space that we have here. You can see that link has been imported from React Router. Now I'm going to open app.gsx so that we can see the routes that we're about to make. Okay, so when we set up the route here, we set the path. I said earlier that the path is a dynamic path, right? So we have slash product, then slash colon ID. That is ID of the products that we want to view specifically. So when we come back here now and then want to set up the link, we need to ensure that we do that. So this would link us to open our curly braces, then use our backtick slash product slash $, then open a curly braces, then product dot ID. Okay, so we've already set the link now. So the image, if we click on the image, it's going to lead us to the page. So I'm going to click on this now. You can see it's leading us. This is the fifth product. Okay. If I click on this image, this is the sixth product. If I click on this is the fourth product. Okay, so this is working well. So now let us work on the product details to ensure that after clicking and it leads us to the page, we have something to show in the product details page. So I'll close this product list, open the product details page, and then we'll begin to write our code. So for our product details page, we're going to first off, we need to import our product data from asset folder, import product data from dot forward slash asset slash data, and then before we start with the UI, we need to extract the add to cart function from shop context. So we're going to do const add to cart will be equals to use context shop context. And now we're going to import shop context. So import shop context from component slash shop context. Now that we've done these two, the next thing we need to do is to get the product ID. So in product details page, we want to display a product specifically. So we need to get the ID of that product that we want to see the page from our URL. Okay, so we're going to do const ID will be equals to use params from React Router DOM. Once we get the ID of that product, we're now going to get the detail of that product based on the ID. So const product, we want to get the product. The product data that we're getting from asset folder, our product data dot find method. We want to find that product in our product data by its ID. We'll do product, open our curly braces, and then return product.id that matches with the ID that we have generated from the URL. Okay, so I want to convert the ID that we're generating from URL to a parameter, to an integer, I mean. Okay, so what we did there first off, we want to get the ID of the product that we want to view its details in the URL. This is the code. And then for this code, we created a variable for products, and then this is what is going to store. Okay, so we want to find that ID of that product in our product data file, and then return the product ID that matches with the ID of the one that we're getting from the URL. Okay, so once we have these two now, we can now design our UI. So now we'll create a div tag for product details. In the product details, we'll have the left and right. So we'll have details left and details right. In the details left, we're going to have an image, and the image is going to take product.image. Then in the right section, we're going to have an h3 tag for the name of product.name. After this h3 tag, we're going to have a p tag for the product price. dollar sign, then product dot price. Then we'll have a p tag for description, and then this is going to take product dot description. After this, we're going to have our button. This button is going to take the text add to cart. And then for this button, we would use an on-click method to call our add to cart function so that we can add our item to cart, and then we'll pass products and ID. Okay, so this is what we have in the product details. Now, if you view the browser, this is what we have. Okay, so now let's style so that we can have something like this. So now we're going to start the product details page. First, we need to import our CSS file into our GSX file, product details.css. Then we'll start by styling this product details. Display will be flex. Padding will take 80 pixels. Then we have the details left. In the details left, we have an image, so we'll style that directly. We'll set the width of the image to 460 pixels. Then we have the details right, which has an h3 tag. So details right, I will set the padding to 70 pixels. We have an h3 tag. I'm going to set the font size of this to 30 pixels. We have product price, and then we have description, and then a button. So details right dot product price. We'll set the font size of this to 22 pixels. We'll set the color to red, and then margin top should take 10 pixels. Next is the description. We'll set the font size of this to 20 pixels. We'll set the color to this color code. Then we'll set margin top to 15 pixels. Then we have a button. So details right, button, padding. We'll use padding to set the width and height. So 1 rem for the height, 3.6 rem for the width. Margin top should take 15 pixels. Border will be none. Background color should be red, and then text color should be white. So let us see what we have now. Oh my god, this styling, we need to do something about it. So I think there's a clash with the class name. So in the cart details page, we have a product details here. Okay, so the best thing is in our product details, let's just change this to product detail without an S when styling. So let's do product detail. This should work. Okay, so now there's a difference between the two class name. Okay, so we're done with our product details page. Next thing we need to work on is our footer. Okay, footer is what we show at the bottom of our pages. So we'll have a class name for footer container. Then we'll have the contents. Inside the content, we'll have the name and the socials. So we'll have dot footer name, and also we'll have dot footer socials. After this div tag, we're now going to have the copyright section. Okay, so let's work on the footer name first. We'll have an h2 tag, JSON diner. Then we'll have socials. I'm going to type in Facebook. So React is going to suggest list of icons that's going to match the name Facebook. and I'll give it a class name of footer icon. I'll close this. Also, we're going to use the Instagram icon. So we'll use this other one. It will take the same class name. So I'm just going to copy this and paste it here. Then close this tag. And then we'll use X, which was formerly Twitter. And it's going to take the same class name as well. Then for the copyright section, we'll have a P tag. And it's going to take this text. Okay, so now we're going to see that this is what we have in our footer. If we scroll down, this is what the footer looks like. But this is what we want our footer to look like. Okay, so let us style our footer. We'll open footer.css, but before that, we need to import footer. So we will style this footer. We'll set the background color to black. The text color will take white. And then the padding bottom will take 3 rem. And then we'll style the footer contents. So for this, we'll set display to flex. Justify content space between. And then we'll set padding of 30 pixels. Border bottom of 2 pixels solid. And this color code. Then we have the socials. So we'll set the display of this to flex. We'll set gap of 10 pixels. Then we have the footer icon. So we'll set font size of this as well. Font size will take 22 pixels, and then margin left will take 10 pixels. Lastly, we have the copyright section. So text align center, we'll set the padding of 15 pixels. So this is what our footer looks like at the end of the day. So we've come to the end of this tutorial. If you find this tutorial knowledgeable, if you learn one or two, please do well to subscribe, share, drop a comment, and I'm going to see you in the next one. Thank you for watching. Bye. And by the way, I'm Zuli. Please subscribe to my channel. It will take nothing for you to subscribe. Thank you so much. Bye.